Hi, I'm Khleif. Each and every week, I record an interview with a thought leader that I know you're going to get a ton of value from. Now, here on YouTube are the video versions of my podcast, Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing. Now, to make sure you get the latest information, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Let's get started. Welcome to another edition of How to Build Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing. I'm Khleif, and I'm thrilled you're here. And I know you're going to get tremendous value from the gentleman we're interviewing today. You may already even know who he is. His name is Clothier, and he's the CEO and founder of Real Estate Worldwide. He has been doing real estate education in primarily the single family space for, I think 15 years. He's got a mastermind like I do. It's actually a similar name. It's called the Boardroom Mastermind, and he's just an all-around great guy. I think we met through a mastermind that we belong to called the Digital Marketers War Room, and originally met there, I think, and have just been following each other's trajectories for quite a while, and I'm super excited to have him on the show. Welcome, brother.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Let's have some fun today. Now, I wanted you on the show because I know you can add tremendous value, even though, again, your focus is primarily single family. Real estate is real estate is real estate. And I thought that, maybe we could start by, the usual, tell us how you got started, what you love and what you're doing. But then I thought maybe we could shift into mindset. But let's start with who you are.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'll take a couple steps back because people, in order for me to tell the story of how I got involved in real estate, it's people find it interesting that I got involved in business in general. When I was 17 years old, I started a company, an arbitrage company, buying and selling truckloads of groceries of all things. That was very, very successful. Became the 7th largest privately held company in the state of Florida. Was doing almost $2 billion a year when I left at the age of 30. And the reason that's relevant is because my experience as a young man was very different than most, right? I had been wildly successful in my 20s, and ultimately was in the art of losing everything, if you will, getting run out of my own corporation in my 30s. It kind of brought me to real estate, right? And basically I got to a place to where I had burned every bridge, every relationship, everything I knew how to do through all of my adulthood up to that point, had burned it to the ground and turned around and basically was left with no option but to turn to something that felt like the barriers of entry were relatively low, felt like I could potentially do it, and got right place, right time, right situation, and basically had nowhere else to turn. Got involved in real estate back in December of 2002 and wholesaled my first deal in January of 2003. Since then, my family and I have flipped over 5,000 properties. We've built a very large single family turnkey operation based out of Memphis, Tennessee called Memphis Invest that is extremely successful today, that buys and sells roughly 90 to 100 houses every single month to investors all over the country. And then, as you mentioned, probably about, 12 years ago, I became very passionate about how good this business had been to me and how simple it really can be if you will just follow some basic processes, and which I know you can appreciate, right? There's a lot of elegance in the simplicity of this if you'll just pay attention. And so we began teaching people how to do it and showing them and providing systems and processes and training and all that. And as you mentioned, a mastermind that has now grown to where we roughly have 50,000 students around the country. We've got 10 or 12,000 people on our software. We've got hundreds of people in our mastermind. And so this kind of evolution, real estate has been extremely good to me and my family over the years. And obviously that's why I'm here to talk to you, because I'm extremely excited about it and willing to give back any way I can.
Super. Yeah, no. And that's why I wanted you on the show. And anybody that listens to me knows that, it's my belief that 80 to 90% of your success in anything is mindset and psychology. You have to actually take action with what you learn. So many people will go to, an event or buy a course or read a book and they'll never do a damn thing with it. And it's the mindset that makes it happen. So let's speak to that. I mean, can you speak to, how mindset has impacted your trajectory and your incredible success, and then maybe how you coach students to take massive action.
Absolutely, man. I'd love to. This is what I'm passionate about. I will tell you that you hit it. You hit the nail on the head. Mindset's everything. I mean, people believe that, and I know you run into it with people that you teach and people that we teach, that people come into business that don't come from a entrepreneur background or an investing background or anything like that. They're coming from corporate or they're just new into business in general. And they gravitate towards the tactical, right? Just give me the steps. And what I have definitely come to appreciate and that I stress to everybody is the steps are not the thing, because I can assure you, if your mind's not right, if you are not mentally prepared, if you don't have the mental fortitude that is required to run a business, operate a business, get in there and take the failures, if you are in any way, shape, or form afraid of getting knocked down and potentially getting knocked out, then you're already behind. Mm-hmm. Having the mental capacity and the right mindset to fundamentally believe that success is inevitable for you and a willingness to do whatever it takes is, quite frankly, everything. Because again, you and I both know this to be true, that it is not a matter of if you're going to fail. It is not a matter of if you're going to screw up or if you're going to get knocked down or if you're going to make a bad investment or a bad decision. That is absolutely going to happen. But again, we see people every day that somehow they've been conned into believing that they got to cross every T and dot every I, and that they've got to try to get everything perfect before they take any action whatsoever, which is the reason, to your point earlier, that it is the rule, not the exception, that most people buy courses and never do anything, right? It's the same people that buy the P90X or the Beachbody or T25 or whatever, the treadmill, and it's still sitting in the garage and they don't ever use it. I mean, it's that same thing. The act of buying and making the investment in the education is never the thing. It is just the tool. What has to happen is you have got to be so passionate about life, and it isn't even about success, and it isn't even about, winning in this endeavor or making money. It is about life in general, that I just firmly believe, especially in real estate, mm-hmm. that I have seen some of the, pardon my French here, man, but I say this all the time, give me ignorance on fire versus knowledge on ice, right? I have seen so many broke, overeducated people and so many rich morons that the only difference between them was never the education. It was the action. It was sometimes when you're just so naive and you're just so passionate about having everything that you believe you deserve out of life, you will go to the ends of the earth to make it happen. You will take massive action. You will go with and take strategic risk. And you just believe so passionately that you deserve it, that empowers you to get to the next level. But if you don't have that, I can almost guarantee you nothing will happen.
Yeah, no question. I love that, what you just said, because it's so factually accurate. But let me ask you this. Let's drill down a little bit. So how do you help your students push through, the fear, that perfectionism, the limiting beliefs, the inability to take action, or to get uncomfortable? Because so many people are just comfortable, and we know, comfort zone's a warm place, but not a damn thing grows there. So how do you push your people to actually take action with what you teach? I'd be interested to hear that.
We work hard to help people separate fact from fiction. It's that, and here's what I mean by that. A lot of people have a fictional story playing in their mind, and unfortunately, they have no realization that the words that come out of their mouth as a product of that they actually become real. So they keep telling themselves what they can't do or what they don't deserve, instead of and so they make that real. Well, I can't because of this, or I can't because of that. I can't go work out because I don't have time. That is just inaccurate, period. You clearly have time. It is not important enough to you. So the moment you change the word can't to I choose not to, that becomes a decision. And that doesn't feel very good, right? When you're choosing not to follow your dreams and you're choosing not to go after things, to the right individual, that does not feel very comfortable. When it becomes a choice and when you own it and you become accountable. So the very first thing we do with people is separate fact from fiction. Stop, BSing yourself. Stop blowing sunshine, and to be very honest with yourself. And other ways we do that is
hold on before you move on for that. I want to hammer something home that you just said. Guys, we all create stories that to justify, frankly, they're circuit breakers that make our inaction okay, and that's what they are. They're stories, and I love the way you describe that as fact from fiction, because usually they're fiction. And these limiting beliefs that have no basis in fact, but because we had some emotional triggering event that makes them feel real, they hold us in inaction. And so anyway, please continue. I just wanted to hammer this.
No. Happy. So the other thing I would tell you is that we, on the same lane, I feel very, very fortunate in my life because I've had three pretty seismic events, right? One was losing my business. Two was having my mentor pass away while he was holding my hand. Oh, wow. And three was being in a plane accident with my family on the plane, believing it was my last moments. And these three things really had an impact on my life, right? And because what it helped me to understand and really kind of crystallize a thought was that the time is now, right? Time is important, right? And so that, again, what we do with our students is demonstrate and show them time. And I'll give you a really good example of this, right? The average American male lives to the age of 78. The average female lives to the age of 82. And so we take somebody through a very simple process, is go deduct your current age from that number right now. Then go multiply that number times 365. And statistically speaking, that is how many days you have left on this planet. And then it gets even worse, because if you go take that number and multiply it times 0.67, which basically you're dividing it, you're taking 2/3 of that number. What you're doing is assuming that 8 hours a night you're going to be asleep. And so now this is how many waking days you have left on the planet. And when you are hit with that number and you look at that number every single day and you realize you have a decision of what happens with that number, I don't care who you are, that number is way too small. And what, again, to your point a second ago, is that we are conned, into being passive. We are conned into not owning our decisions. And complacent, right? We're lazy with our words. We're lazy with our actions. We're lazy with our realization that time is ticking right now. And when you are faced with that and you're the right individual, I promise you, again, separating fact from fiction, the fact of the matter is you need to go. You have a very limited amount of time left on this planet to create impact. And whether that is with your family, whether that is with your community, whether that is through your friends, whether that is through your business, it doesn't matter. The bottom line is you are in control of what happens with every single one of those days. And you can choose, back to what I was just saying a second ago, you can clearly choose to be complacent. You can clearly choose to be lazy and do nothing.
But the operative word is choose, though.
You got it, right? But it's a choice, baby. Yeah. And you are choosing. You are choosing to put everything that you deserve in your life and that you're capable of doing, you're choosing to put it on the back burner and say, not today. And again, that doesn't feel very good. And when you do enough of these hacks, right, and you kind of separate out fact from fiction, we do the same thing when it comes to our business and investing. A lot of people will go into a market, we're focused a lot on wholesaling, right? So we do a lot with cash buyers in each one of the markets we're in. And a lot of people will come in and they will con themselves believing, well, there's not really anything going on in my market, right? Do I need to go to another market? Let me just go give you the facts, right? And so we will go into our systems and show them, oh, well, just in San Diego County in the last 6 months, there were 12,000 cash transactions for single family houses. And the fact of the matter is, in that same 6 months, you were just trying to do 10 deals. So I'm pretty sure you can do 10 out of 12,000. So can we just get to business, right? And that's what I mean. That kind of just really hitting home with, man, the time is so precious
So let me ask you something. So what's a tool? I thought about getting a big jar filled with marbles and throwing one away every day, or getting a clock that literally counts down your life. In fact, I even went on and looked for one. I kind of let it go by the wayside, but it's something I think I'm going to do for myself because of what you just said. Because if you can keep it in front of you, that every, carpe diem, because that day's never coming back. I mean, do you suggest any tools? Is there any strategy?
It's interesting. There's a number of different ways. It's funny that you mentioned I have a buddy that filled a fish tank with 15,000 marbles, and every day, exactly what you were talking about, right?
Right.
I don't wear a watch, right? I have a wristband that says the time is now. Every time I look down at my wrist, the time's right.
I like that.
I have a tattoo on my arm
that basically
says the exact same thing, right?
It says the time is now on that? Wow.
Yeah. The clock has no hands, and in Latin it says the time is now.
Oh, I love it.
It is a constant reminder that I am in a hurry to get the most out of my life that I possibly can, and I encourage everybody to do that. So when you talk about mindset to me is not about motivation, and it's not about inspiration. It's about realization that we all, here's, and again, you've seen the same thing, again, separating fact from fiction. I was very, very fortunate back in 2012. I got the opportunity to go to Haiti.
Yeah, that's eye-opening.
And when you go to Haiti and you see one of the most desperate countries in the world, where it is pure primal survival. People do not know where they're going to get their water, where they're going to get their food. They have an infant, a mother has her infant in her arms, and it is, where am I going to sleep tonight? Where am I going to eat? How am I going to take care? When it is that primal. And you're sitting here, as in almost probably anybody that's going to watch or hear this, I guarantee you, on your worst day, the day you feel the worst, when you think, I cannot do this, I promise you there's not a person in Haiti that would not change places with you in a second.
Contrast is a powerful thing, isn't it?
Amen, baby. Right? They want your problems, right? They want to be able to sit in a country where you get to control your outcome. You have air in your lungs, blood in your heart. You have an entrepreneurial spirit. You have a dream, and you have the possibility of making it real. How dare you not go for it? And those types of, again, hacks, if you will, realizations, kind of hitting you hard right in the gut. If that doesn't push you to go and act, then quite frankly, I believe that nothing will. Right. And entrepreneurship is not meant for everybody.
And that hurts. I know there are people that just heard you say that, and that friggin' hurts. So don't let that be your reality, guys. I love this. Mindset is realization, not motivation. I may steal that, Kent. I like that. It's because it truly is. It's becoming conscious, right? It's being conscious about your freaking life, not being a freaking robot going through this life. Yeah, love that.
And then, and then I'll give you one last example here, and that is because there's a lot of people, even if they're in business, and they are, they are successful to some degree, and they probably, there's a lot of people. You and I've definitely seen the transitions, right, where you go from being the person that's got the money part of it figured out. You're never gonna go broke. You know how to make money, but you don't really own a business yet.
Right.
And you start playing this game of holding on to instead of continuing to push in, continuing to grow, continue to evolve. And here's what, how I coach people through that is, again, kind of just helping them understand that we are in an economy, we are in a world today where I firmly believe it is a race to zero, where it is just an absolute ocean of mediocrity. In other words, you do not have to look very far to find, at the highest levels of business and at the lowest levels of business, some company trying to figure out how to screw that customer over, how to wring as much out of them as they possibly can and deliver as little value as they can, right? Whether it's the airlines or hotels it is so prevalent. It is the norm now.
Yeah.
And so
it's disgusting.
The beauty of that, if you're an entrepreneur, is think about that, right? If that's real, which we know it is, in order to be extraordinary in business today, all you have to do is do the right thing. That's it. I mean, just do the right thing. Just take care of of your customer. Be grateful.
In this business that we're in, I mean, the bottom line is there are people in this industry, thought leaders in the multifamily space, the single family space that it's exactly. I would speak to our industry because like I learned from one of my mentors, Tony Robbins, that the most successful people on the planet are the ones that add the most freaking value. And so, the bottom line is, like in my program and in your program, it's overwhelmed with value. I mean, it's like, listen, you almost can't handle it all. There's so much. And that's why we're both successful, because we're not scarcity mindseted. And you're so right. It's not hard to surpass the competition by doing the right thing and adding more value.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, people look at it, and so what happens is that people look at it like, oh my God, how do I climb to the top? Well, let me help you. The top's not that far anymore, right? The top is do the right thing. The top is take care of people, add value, just be the right person, right? Be the person that you want to be. And when you find yourself in those spots where you basically are like, man, this is scary. I'm not exactly sure I can push in. I don't know what to do right here. Just remember this. And this is the thought that I think of. This happens to me at least once a week when I'm faced with those decisions, and I'm sitting there like, man, I got a lot. I'm extremely grateful. I played a high level in a lot of different areas of my life. And when I find myself getting a little timid and pulling back a little bit, I have one thought, and it's, this is where my competition will stop. And the moment I think that, right, the moment I think that, oh, wow, this is that mediocrity, here's that level, here's that place where everybody else starts watering it down, I step forward. And
I love it, man. And you're living it. You guys could see, if you're not watching this on video, see this full arm tattoo with a clock with no hands. No, I absolutely love it. And, this, and some of these quotes are fantastic. A race to zero and an ocean of mediocrity. I mean, it's sad, but it's true, man. And it's painful to hear it. And listen, if you're looking in the mirror and you feel like that could resonate with you a little bit, when would now be a good time to get freaking started, and take action. Now, let me ask you this, Kent. Do you help people identify with, how do you help them get clarity, on what it is they want? And do you work through goals to talk about that piece a little bit?
So it's rare that I work with private clients anymore, but every year I probably work with 3 to 4. And when I do that, they will come into my office, we'll sit down and it's my intention, again, because I'm not here to waste time, right? I'm here to get there as fast as humanly possible and get them the result as fast as humanly possible. And so in an effort to do that, we have to go hard and we have to go deep and we have to, reveal, we got to reveal what's kind of potentially holding people back. But to me, it's really, you have to get very clear on 4 things. And that is, why are you doing what you're doing, right? Why is it not okay for you to sit and make somebody else rich at that 9 to 5? Why are you willing to go take this risk? Why are you willing to go take this on? Because we all have heard the romanticized version. We've all seen it where, oh my God, I'm going to go become an entrepreneur. I'm going to control my own destiny. And the second you step out of that secure little 9 to 5, you quickly realize, man, this is nowhere near as sexy as I thought it was going to be, right? I might be making less money now, and I have now taken on more risk, and everything resides in me. And so that's a hard, but if you're willing to do that, right, it's a necessary step. And if you're willing to do that, I want to know why, because something down deep is driving you to do that. And I think that's an extremely powerful thing that must be revealed, because it is,
and you probably have to go deep, right? I mean, you might have to ask the question several times to go through layers of answers.
It's been very rare that I've been able to get somebody that clearly knew their why, that I was willing to take my foot off the gas after 1 or 2 times. It's usually 5, 6, 7, 8 layers deep. Right. You keep asking, and you'll find out it's something, it might be family related. It might be their kids. It might be something that happened when they were a kid, that basically it might be church or community or spiritual. It could be any kind of thing, but there's something inside of every one of us. There's a burning desire to succeed, and you need to understand why that's there. And you need to understand it for two reasons. Number one, in any business, your business, if you're the CEO and you're the founder, it is a reflection of you and what you believe, period. And so to be able to clearly understand that and communicate that absolutely will ensure that you are attracting the right people into your world, right? Like this is
communicating your mission, right?
Absolutely. Right. This is your intrinsic value. This is what makes you different. Especially in real estate, the practical value of buying and selling houses or building a multifamily portfolio. I mean, everybody and their brother that you and I literally know thousands of people that have done this. What makes it different is at the top. This is why we care so much. This is why we bring so much value to it, because this is what drives us at our core. And so that why is a big, big component, because it is not only the way that you communicate to the market, equally, it is the way that gets you up out of bed in the morning when you don't feel like doing it.
Oh, I like that. So it's not just knowing it, but knowing it so that you can translate that into being a leader and using that in a leadership capacity. So that's number one. What's number two?
Number two is there's going to be those days, man, when you don't, we're all human. You don't feel like doing this.
Right.
And, my why at this point in my life is that I'm dead set on creating as much value and making as much impact in as many people's lives as I can. And so the way I've translated that, and visualized that in my head is that I'm at an age now, right? So I just turned 49. I'm at an age now where I've had a few friends pass away unexpectedly. And a couple of them, I got on a plane and I flew out to their funeral, and a couple I didn't. And I really looked at myself and said, man, I wonder why that happened, right? Why did some I made the time and some I didn't. And so I've never forgotten that. And my thing, the way I've, again, visualized this is, whose lives have I made such an impact in that if I were to pass today, who's going to get on a plane and fly out here, and when my little girls are sitting on that front row in front of that casket, walk up to my little girls and shake their hand and say, your dad mattered. And anytime I don't feel like getting out of bed, brother, that's all I got to think about.
Man, I freaking love that. I mean, right? I absolutely love that. Thank you. You just gave me a gift personally. Love that, brother.
That to me is what it's about. And because that's how you use your why in multiple ways, right? Our mission out here as it relates to my business is that we are here to wake people up. We will treat them in an authentic, transparent way and show them exactly, and it doesn't even say show, it says demonstrate to them what it looks like in everything we do. And that's two ways you use your why right there. Everybody that comes into our world, they know what we stand for.
I got to tell you, the reason that sorry, I interrupted. I want to finish your thought. The reason that it resonated with me is I'm a lot older than my wife, and I actually think about that. When I'm gone, that will absolutely motivate me. Thank you for that gift, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the other three questions that move much quicker. The why is obviously the most important, but clearly, when I'm pushing down on people and trying to get them to get a lot of clarity in their life, it's, what do you stand for, number one, and then what do you stand against, which should be basically converse to that, right, the other side. But it's real hard. Inevitably, somebody will sit here and they'll write down 20 words that they stand for. Just give me the words, right? Mm-hmm. And then we'll go down and choose 4 or 5. But it's real hard to sit in front of me, more importantly, sit in front of your wife or your husband or your business partner and tell me that something you stand for is integrity, when you won't get your ass out of bed and go do what it takes to make that happen. And you can't, integrity is what you have and what you believe and what you do when nobody's looking. And inevitably, everybody gravitates toward integrity, right? I want to create win-win situations. Our company has integrity and we stand for doing the right thing, and et cetera, et cetera. Well, it's real hard to talk about it and not be about it. And I'll be the first one to call you on it, right? And so, and then the last question that we really get down in is, what do you believe in so strongly and so passionately that you'd be willing to, take a bullet for it? Our military, our soldiers clearly believe so strongly in our freedom, our country, that they are called to face that question every day. Most of us are never faced, but I think it's important that you understand what you believe in. And when you have those answers and you're faced with that, and you have 2 things now in front of you at the end of that, after the end of a few hours with me, You clearly have what your dreams are and what the answers to these 4 questions, right? What you're trying to accomplish and what the answers to these 4 questions. And on the other side, you have how many days you have left on this planet. And I promise you, between those 2 things, things will start to get very, very clear on what the next process is. And that's all right. Now let's map out how we do that.
Now, then it's the map. Yeah.
Now it's the map, but the mindset and the tools to kind of keep you in that headspace, because you and I both know. It's never the what.
It's the why. I mean, that's the what. There's so many vehicles you can become wealthy and successful and significant under, but unless you push through the why, you're never going to take action with it.
That's right. And that's what it's all about. And so people ask me why with all the success we've had, why are we now going in and trying to do our latest venture and build our latest company and go?
Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute. It's called Kribz, right? Kribz. So just chat about that for a second.
So as we've been doing all these transactions over the years, and as we've helped all these investors, there's a massive pain point in the real estate industry as a whole. And that is just the real estate transaction in and of itself is probably the most.
It's archaic.
Oh God, it is so archaic. There are, in some cases, hundreds of hands involved in a transaction. It's bloated with cost. It's bloated with inefficiency. It's just insane. And we have now gotten to a point with, Uber and Airbnb and just the economy in general, where the consumer is getting more and more comfortable transacting directly from their phone, transacting directly from their laptop. And we just feel like the time has come where we have got to get to a place to where a real estate transaction can largely happen online and very quickly and efficiently and inexpensively. Mm-hmm. And so that's a multi-billion-dollar problem to solve. And there's a reason why it hasn't been. There's a reason why it hasn't been solved so far. It's because it's hard. It's not easy, right? You're fighting a lot of different.
Well, certainly lobbies. I mean, you're fighting realtors. You're fighting. I mean, there's a lot of people that stand to lose from exactly that. Right. I mean, it's like you don't want to be the man making the buggy whips when Henry Ford came along. It's the same.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So we kind of look at the industry as Blockbuster. Look at us as Netflix, the David and Goliath. We are stepping directly into the arena. I've been working on our application for the last 2 years. We've invested millions of dollars and tens of thousands of man hours in this, and got off. And Kribz is a platform that effectively connects buyers and sellers right online. We have cash buyers that are sitting on one side of Kribz that are waiting with bated breath to buy houses. They want inventory. And we have sellers that are just sick of going in and selling or listing a house for $200,000 and looking up and it taking 78 days for a transaction to close. They're now paying 6% in commissions. They've had to discount it an additional 7%. And then they look up and they've had to make 2 more payments. All that, we basically said, we're just going to get rid of it. A seller puts their property on Kribz and they pay 0. If it sells for $200,000, they get $200,000.
Wow.
There's no cost to the seller whatsoever. They put the property on. We send a representative to their house to take pictures. That's it. And then we turn around and 24 hours later, it hits the bidding platform. And 24 hours after that, they have multiple offers on their house that can close in as little as 7 days. And it gets presented back to the seller very much like if you were going to go buy an airline ticket and you're using Kayak or Trivago or Orbitz, whatever, it's just here's all your offers. Here's every investor, whether that's Open Door or OfferPad or just all the local investors and the hedge funds. Here's everybody that bid. Here's the price they're willing to pay, when they're willing to close, what their terms are. They get to choose the one they want, or they can choose none. If they choose, the entire transaction happens through the system. Again, the seller pays nothing, and the buyer pays a transaction fee, and everybody's off to the races.
Wow. Fascinating. Well, keep an eye out for that, guys. Kribz, Krib. How is it? KRIBBZ. Yeah. And guys, listen, I know many of you listening are still in the single family space. You're listening because you want to build annuities and build cash flow in multifamily. But if you have any interest, in increasing your single family reach, Kent is the man. Okay. So check him out. It's Real Estate Worldwide. Super good guy, and you just heard it. Got a shirt on that says "Average Sucks," which I couldn't agree more. Love it. But listen, brother, you've added tremendous value today. I really appreciate you being on the show, and I hope we cross paths again very soon.
Hey, man, it's been my pleasure. Glad we got to do this.
All right, take care, bro.
Hey, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you listen to podcasts, join me on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to those podcasts. Just search for Lifetime Cash Flow through Real Estate Investing.